Hi everyone, it's Serena and I'm taking over today. You guys may know my dad, James. I'm sorry. So today I thought that I would take over because I watched this really good show on Netflix. It just came out a few days ago, I think. And honestly, I think it just really made an impression on me and I just really needed to share it. So it's called The Grand Army. As I said, it is on Netflix. And it really is, when you first look at it, you're like, oh, it's just a teen show, it might just be like Riverdale, like every other show, but it really is not because it sort of tackles the ideas that I guess people are too scared to talk about, takes things more seriously without making it very cynical, I would say. So I guess we should just get into this right now. So first, I just want to say, bear with me, it's my first time doing a review of a show. So let's kick it off with the beginning. So we get to look into the lives of, I'd say, like 8 really important characters and how their lives are changing. So it's set in New York City. It's at this, I would say, fictional school called the Grand Army. Don't quote me on that. It is in New York City. Just don't quote me on that. I don't know if it's a real school or not. I just didn't research that part, but I've never heard of the Grand Army School. So anyways, so we first see one of the powerhouse characters, I would say. Her name is Dominique Pierre. She is a Haitian woman. She's sorry, I'm sidetracking right now, but Haitian representation, I am a big fan of that. My dad is Haitian. He's not here. I don't know why I'm pointing over here, but maybe you'll insert a photo of him. Here he is. All right, so he's Haitian. So the big thing that stuck out to me was as soon as they started speaking in Creole. So her family is obviously very Haitian. It's a single mother, and her family consists of her single mother, her older sister, who got pregnant at a young age, and then her sister's children. And Dominique, she sort of is trying to take control of her family because obviously they're dealing with financial issues. And so she really is a powerhouse character because she continues to hustle throughout high school, trying to make ends meet, trying to pay rent, playing basketball, really just taking control of her life. And another thing, she's just such an inspiring character to me because, first of all, she knows that she doesn't come from a lot. Her mother was an immigrant, and obviously she's not financially there when it comes to college, but she's really trying to get through it. She has dreams of going to Johns Hopkins or Washington University. I'm applying there, by the way. Washington University in St. Louis. She wants to become a psychologist. And she really stood out. And yeah, so let's just get to the next character because I seem to be very passionate about her. And if you watch it, you will see why. So the next character we have is Joey Del Marco. She is very complex, like one of the most complex characters. She's the focus of a lot of the episodes. So she is a very feminist person, I would say. Yeah, she's a very feminist person. She starts a movement in her school that goes against the discrimination of women and like the dress codes and all that. And she really tries to really get at her teachers and try to make a difference in the school. And obviously, okay, I don't know if I can spoil this. This might be a spoiler. So if you're watching this, you might want to press the 10 seconds forward button.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
You've heard of this. You've seen this, right? You know what that is.
It is unavoidable. It is your destiny.
Is this not why you are here?
Do or do not. There is no choice.
Knock that shit off.
Joey is a victim of sexual assault. She is raped in the show, and the depiction of it is very hard to watch at some points. And obviously, you know, it's a real thing. People face it every day. And I just think that the fact that they showed it in such a way is very like real. And I think it's so good to see that people's stories are getting told through this person, because it's interesting to see that the people who actually committed the crime were actually like very close friends of her. So it just shows that, you know, you really can't like trust people in this world. You know, there's something, you just have to be safe. And I just think that it's very interesting that they took it that way, and they decided to go in that direction, especially with her being a very feminist character. Like, she supports Black Lives Matter, she supports the women's movement, and for her to just be overtaken and kind of broken down as you see the episodes continue, it's just kind of disheartening for me, I would say, because she's such a powerhouse character. And she really came out of this show, like, it's just really good how they depict her. Her acting is outstanding, and it's also insane to see that her as an actor, and a lot of the actors on the show, they're actually new. Like, these are new actors that you don't get to see in other shows. Like, you would not recognize them, which is really great, because I really just don't like seeing shows where they use every single same actor. Like, they've got Zendaya, I love her though. They've got Zendaya, Timothée Chalamet, again, feeding them the same roles, same people. It's really good to open your eyes and see that there are other people out there. And so, yes, Joey, love her. And all right, so we're gonna move to the next character. I'm doing a lot of character analysis. Sorry, I took a lot of English. I'm in AP Lit right now, so sorry, just feeding into that. So next we have Siddhartha Pakam. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say his name. So sorry. Another complex character. I just gotta keep saying that, because this show really built, like, the writers, chef's kiss. So especially with him, he is a child of Indian descent. He's Hindu, right? And so another large aspect of the show is, in the very first episode, we see that there is a bombing a few blocks away from the school that they go to, which kind of puts like eyes on him, I'd say, because the person who did the bombing was a person of Muslim descent. But obviously he was not Muslim himself, but in this world, looking a certain way, similarities, people begin to see it, people begin to sort of group people together, and it's really him trying to get through that. But then there's another layer. Spoiler alert. Okay, there's another layer. So it turns out that he's actually gay. So the way he comes out is honestly so really well organized, because throughout this, he's trying to apply to Harvard. He's trying to do his college essay, right? And he does this beautiful imagery as he's writing the essay, which, by the way, I wish I had the writers to write my college essay, because they did a great job with that. Like, Harvard let him in. Harvard. So he really goes through his essay describing how his life, like, he's sort of got a ticking time bomb within himself. And he relates it to how he wants to sort of become his true self. He wants to come out. He wants to live this life. But there are so many pressures on him, so many negative outlooks on him. that just keep him away from that. You know, like he's a jock in this show. He's got a girlfriend. Obviously, it's harder for them to sort of get through this. It's just really great how they went about his character, and they didn't try to make it seem like, oh, he was like, it's just really great how they gave him like representation. They really tried to expand on this character and make you care for him, sort of. Okay, next character. Don't worry, guys, I'm not going through all of them. So we have Layla Kwan Zimmer. Now, she is an interesting character as well. She is Chinese, but she's adopted by two Jewish parents. So already she's she has an internal conflict where she doesn't know herself. She doesn't know who she is in this world. She's a freshman in high school, still trying to adjust to that, which is different because especially in the city, you don't just stay with the same people. You go to a different high school. You leave the people that you used to know. And she sort of goes throughout the show trying to discover herself, trying to discover her sexuality. And it's sort of like, it brings into focus that there are people in this world who sort of like don't know themselves, especially being adopted by Jewish parents who also are not very religious. So it's not like she's a part of the Jewish community. She's a part of the Chinese community, which they bring into focus in some episodes. Like when the Chinese students are speaking Chinese, she doesn't understand them. And so they kind of berate her and they kind of tear her down, saying she's not Chinese enough, she's not Jewish enough. There's just a divide within herself. And then the other important aspect, which I really thought this was really unique to the show, is Layla herself has these sequences that are sort of drawn in animation, and it shows like post-apocalyptic worlds that are representations of what's going on in her life. Like in one point, it deals with her Jewish parents who had just adopted her, and she was trying to run through this post-apocalyptic scene. She's trying to run through and find her parents, but when she gets to them, they're like zombies, which is just crazy, but it works. It's a really great device of getting through a point, which is just, it's interesting because I had never seen that in a show, and it's specific to her character herself. And it's just really, she is a great character, and I think the work that she did was really good, except she becomes problematic at times. That part I'm just not going to spoil because you guys can see that yourself when you watch it, because you've been watching this long. You should already have it queued on Netflix. Come on. Anyways, so you've got these are the other people on the show. Let's continue. So we have Jason. Oh, no. I'm not going to get to him yet. Let's get to John Ellis. So John Ellis and his best friend Owen are saxophone players. They're African-American kids, young. I believe they're sophomores. Yeah, they're young. They strive to go off and be the greatest saxophone players ever, which in the show they really are. I mean, I could listen to them play all day. It's really good. So with them, there's an issue of police brutality or aggressive policing, and they sort of like take that into their own minds. And there's a great way. I just love how the writers they did this thing where they juxtaposed John Ellis and his friend Owen. So Owen, African American, he's impoverished, right? He doesn't have a lot of money, but he's still trying to go off, pursue his dreams, and become a saxophone player. Then there is John Ellis, African American as well, but his family has a little more money. You know, he gets the private lessons, he gets the tutoring, but the two of them are best friends. So when it becomes an issue of policing, that's when it really sort of differs, because both of them are charged with theft, which when you watch the show, it really was hyperbole. I would say hyperbole, because just watch the show. When it was an issue of theft, John Ellis, the one with more money, got a shorter suspension on the show, and Owen did not. And that kind of sort of hits John Ellis in realizing he has more privileges, which leads him to join the Black Student Union. And we see Jason Jackson. So Jason Jackson, another African American character, very passionate about Black Lives Matter, power to the people. He sort of tries to really influence the school and try to organize events, you know, protests, anything he can to get across the point that there is discrimination at the school. You know, 10% of the students at Grand Army are African American or Latinx or whatever other Latinx, Asian, Indian, and then the majority is white. So he really tries to make it known to everyone, the principals, all the students, that there's discrimination at the school. And he sort of takes control. While he is a minor character, I would say, he does sort of lead the other characters to sort of focus. For example, Dom Pierre, which he has a little thing with, Dom the Haitian, Dom the powerhouse. He sort of leads her to believe that there's more discrimination than she is seeing, even though she herself is already dealing with so many other issues. And yeah, I think that was a really great choice of them to sort of bring in that idea, because it's very important to see that, especially in the times now. So it's just a really strong point, really strong place that they took. All right, so continue again, let's go. So then we have Tim and George. And I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the third guy's character. So he's a part of Joey's friend group. Joey Del Marco, the woman I was speaking about before, the feminist powerhouse, they are sort of like a family to her. And they are kind of minor, but I would say that they do interact with almost every character, and it sort of falls into place. They sort of tie it all together. But I think that them as actors were also really well. So Tim Delaney and George Wright, I loved them at first. Not gonna lie to you, I loved them. And then it sort of took a turn because, as we know in TV shows, there's a sort of character development from point A to B in which you either it's in which you either hate them at first and love them, or love them and hate them. Unfortunately, it was the latter. So yeah, I would say just watch the show. That's pretty much it for me doing character analysis, but let me just give my final review. It's amazing. I mean, it deals with, you know, sexual identity, you know, LGBT community, Black Lives Matter, discrimination, sexual harassment, sexual assault. It's just, it has every issue in it without like making it a gimmick or trying to just play it off and just throw it in there like, oh, let's put some sexual harassment in there, get it going. Like, no, everything has a purpose in everyone's character development. Everything plays a larger role. And I really enjoy that. It sort of takes the teen issues, puts it on blast, but also makes it real and makes you feel passionate about the show, passionate about the characters. And then it makes you sort of think, like, as soon as you finish it, you're like, wow, that really hit it, that really like got to me. And it makes you want to just think about what's going on. Also, oh, this popped in my head. I was very, very surprised to see. So the show kind of takes place in January of 2020, but we're heading towards February. And there's a little mention at the end in one of the last episodes. It says people are starting, it's like a newscast. It's like people are starting to self-quarantine, blah, blah, blah. So I was just so surprised to see that it's becoming more current, meaning like the coronavirus was coming up and it would have been shut down soon because it is in the city, which I just really enjoyed that part and had to add that in because the whole time when I was watching the show, I was like, where is your mask? Hello, you're going in the store. What are you doing? Little did they know, it's coming soon. So hopefully in season 2, we'll dive into that maybe. Maybe we'll see more. I really hope it gets picked up for season 2. I mean, you can just send the directors this. Just send it, and then they'll be like, we just got to give her another season, all right? She needs it. I do need it. So thank you for watching. If you sat through all of this and watched me analyze characters and you enjoyed it, ask me to come back. Honestly, just send me your Netflix recommendations. I will watch them and then review them because I honestly watch everything. Like, I've seen every show on Netflix, so keep them coming, people. And now we're gonna say goodbye. My dad was here the whole time.
Good job.